Thank you once again for attending this press conference, which I must say has actually helped in informing people of the correct position, rather than just relying on one state-only media. Firstly, I'd like to update you on the Hurungwe West campaign, today being the 21st of May 2015. Firstly, I wish to make an impassioned plea to the perpetrators of violence in Hurungwe West to stop the brutal assault, stop the intimidation, stop the terror, and stop bullying. On Friday, the 15th of May 2015, the village heads of Nyamunga village were called to Chief Nyamunga's homestead by a Colonel Mrab, who ordered them to force villagers to attend a campaign rally held on the day at Nyamunga Secondary School, which was addressed by the Vice President Mboko. The evening before, the villagers suffered a sleepless, fearful night after state security agents were deployed to the area. School children did not attend school due to fear of the unknown visitors, as schools are stably being used as venues for ZANU-PF campaign and meetings. So schools were closed on the day and they had to attend the meeting. Chamnyora of Nzawabaya, Simon Mfudzanwa, both shop owners at Sengo were assaulted by ZANU-PF youth. They were accused of refusing to close their shops to attend the campaign rally. Takawira Chico of Karombe village was also assaulted. Nyaraji Marewa, a teacher at Matao Primary School, was brutally assaulted. He was thrown into a white combi, registration number ACK 6946. The car has been sighted in the area and is alleged to belong to the state security agents who have been operating in the area since the campaign terror. But at that point, it was being driven by a one Nigel Murambiwa, who is the very same person who was involved in the assault of the village heads when Kwemeti Chombenchanga was there, and he equally led the invasions at Spring Farm. Despite all this, the rally was poorly attended, as has been the norm. Hate language against me was being spewed, wanton, abandoned. Kaskwere should be disciplined for his utterances. He ordered village heads to shepherd the villagers under them to the polling booths, thereby exposing one of ZANU-PF's rigging tactics. I think you are privy to the video that was captured when Comrade Jumbo was addressing people in Hurungwe West. The funny thing is that Kaskwere claimed that I abused government funds, and I am a womanizer. It was interesting that he made that, and I don't think, within what is going on with him right now in the party, Kaskwere knows how close I was with him, and he knew how we think operated. When I accused him of being gay, I knew what I was talking about, and the evidence would be in the courts. Yes, I've never been shy of my children that I have, that I love so much. But I have children with God-given women. It becomes difficult for one who's gay to expect to have a baby when you're sleeping with men. There is a big difference. I don't sleep with men. I sleep with women. And naturally, you conceive when you sleep with a woman. You don't conceive when you sleep with a man. And he must be mindful of that. So it's not been a secret that I have children, yes, but for him to then go on, and he knows that I've traveled with him in South Africa, in many places. We've met President Zuma together. The picture is there, evidence is there. Myself, him, and President Zuma. I mean, if you can have a picture taken by somebody meeting a head of state, it says a lot about how close you are. I've been his fitness coach until I decided that I didn't want to be, for reasons which will be explained in court later. I resigned. I was a fitness coach, a personal trainer for a lot of high-profile people. But I resigned with Kasukwere. I said, no, I cannot. So I thought we would wait for this for another day. And you know, I was very clear, and I've never had to apologize for the fact that the party has been taken over by gay gangsters. I'm glad others are seeing it. The war veterans are seeing it now. Gentlemen, it is a cartel which needs the president to investigate. And I'm more than happy to give the president evidence of the gay gangsters in the party. It is a cartel. If you follow the people who spearheaded AAG, from Keith Gush, Mfumi, Chiangwa, Kasukwere, if you follow that trail, how they got their thing wealth, you'd be able to appreciate. And I am willing to sit down with the president and give him the evidence that half of his cabinet double deals. They bet for both sides. Half of his cabinet double deals. They bet for both sides. And I think it's about time. And these guys are serious about power. They are financed. They failed to justify how they've amassed their wealth. Kasukwere will tell you, no, I can justify how I got the house, but he's never said it. How much was it? Where did the money come from? You know, it takes a thief to know a thief. The last time I said Kasukwere and Chombo were thieves. Today I read in the Daily News, he's now clearly admitting to what I said, that he cannot share a platform with thieves. But how do you know the other person is a thief when you're not? Thieves and gays have hijacked the party. It's pretty clear. I said that the position of Secretary for Administration and the position of Secretary for Commissariat cannot be given to people without a history. The war veterans are now agreeing. But the war veterans were very quick to oust other war veterans like Comrade Mjuru, Comrade Mtasa, Comrade Gumbu. But they are not quick to oust the gay gangsters, who equally have called them their drunkards. They are quiet on that. I challenge the war veterans who will respect that. How can you be called drunkards by the National Commissar and is not suspended, is not expelled, yet is in that position because of the struggle you fought? But you were quick to fire other war veterans who you were with in the struggle. But the utterances made by Kasukwere clearly have gone and I think challenged. War veterans are the trustees of this country who we respect highly. Not at any given time has anybody called them drunkards, but they've been called drunkards by the National Commissar of the party. So I would like to say to my dear brother Xavier that I think don't make unnecessary comments, because you knew that we used to travel together. But there is a time when we would separate. I would go the other side and you'd go the other side. And I knew who you were going with the other side. And would meet first thing in the morning. I've told you that we met President Zuma in South Africa. And I'll give you a history on that. Kasukwere has always been power hungry. You know, for you to meet a head of state, you must follow the right protocol. He was the Deputy Minister of Indigenization then. And you cannot just balloon and meet a head of state without going through the necessary protocols you should go through. You can't. There's no way that a minister from South Africa, a deputy minister, can just come here and meet the thing president without going through the necessary protocols. He must then be questioned. Why did he meet the president of another country without even being sent by His Excellency? What was the agenda? What was the drive? Simple. The evidence is there. The photo is there. I'll show you. We were on our way back to Joburg, to Harare. We changed the flight. We went to Cape Town to meet President Zuma. And we met him. Had photos taken. You have not even briefed your president that you are going away. So you leave the business you went for, and then you now focus on meeting head of state. What was the agenda, Comrade Kasukwe? Certainly not a courtesy call to the president, because the right protocols had to be observed. At no point is ZANU-PF, I mean, he's saying that ZANU-PF, or there were some government funds given to me. When has ZANU-PF ever given anybody money? When has ZANU-PF ever sponsored anything? So you know His Excellency, he's told that we gave Mliswa government funds. How much? When? For what? We gave Mliswa ZANU-PF. The only thing I got from ZANU-PF 2013 was the car, which I gave back to them. I gave them back the car, but they still kept my votes. They never gave me my votes. My votes contributed to the proportional representation to the things senatorial seat. But they've got that. I gave them back their car, and that's the only thing that I had from ZANU-PF. And I said I don't need anything. So I think you must be very careful with the statements, especially when we used to hang around together. When we used to hang around together. I must make it very clear that ZANU-PF is in a problem. Instead of it justifying Zim asset to the people, which is the economic blueprint, they failed. When did you last hear about Zim asset? It was Gamma Talks. Gamma Talks took over Zim asset, and now it's the in-house fighting. You know, getting rid of Mang Juru and the so-called cabal there was faction in the party. There was division in the party. But we're equally honest that this is not sustainable. There's more division in the party now than at any given time. There are more centers of power than at any given time. I've always said the support for the vice president, then Comrade Mjuru, was her office. Being the second president and second secretary of the party, we respected that office. Now she's not there. We are not there with her. Yes, we can see her and respect her because she was vice president. And and at this point in time, let me make it categorically clear that as much as people believe that there is, and this must go on record, I have always challenged people that there's a party called People First. I said I don't have a party called People First. I've never sat down in a meeting, People First. Gamma Talks were the term used to settle personal scores. That's it. Nothing. It was just a term used to settle personal scores. Nothing of substance you can use to it. It has now come back to haunt the party. It's now come back to haunt the party. I was saying the other day to my uncle, Comrade Mutasa, do you remember when you wanted to be the national chairman? March Central supported you. Other provinces were equally supporting you. But you lost to Comrade SK Moyo. I proposed in a PCC meeting in Hurungwe West 4 candidates. I said the president, Mine Juru, John Como, and Did Masantas. It was seconded by the chairman of the youth, Goodluck Mbele. And that was the 4 at a PCC meeting, because it was the time the nominations were coming through. Hurungwe West went with Comrade Chombo, Comrade Matha, the 2 of them, and they reversed the decision of the PCC. And then Comrade Mtasa, they put Comrade SK. And I wrote a letter that where was this deliberated? Where am I getting to? I want you to expose who were the biggest supporters of Mainjuru. It was Chombo. Chombo removed Mtasa to put SK Moyo. Because at that point in time, that's the candidate that was preferred to Mtasa. I was saying this openly to my uncle, saying if you follow back, you're supposed to be the national chairman, March Central supported you and other profs, but it was then reversed when Chombo then went and presented an issue which was not true. And at times you start to actually question yourself that how come these leaders are not making to the top? Because the way they got in was not true. It will catch up with you someday. You ask yourself, but Comrade SK was so close to being vice president, did not make it. Why? Then when you now trace back, there was no democracy. There was no democracy. So I want to make that very clear that I don't, and I think I talked about a generation standing up, a generation being in the forefront, a generation which represents over 60% of the people who vote. That's what I'm about. And I don't want, when I've won in Hurungwe West, for people to say that's a Gamatox area. No one in Gamatox has campaigned there. Gamatox has not funded that. People's First has not funded anybody. People's First does not at all. I'm an independent candidate going to represent people, wanting to advocate for change in the national politics of the country. Am I really obsessed about leaders who have been there and have not made it? Not really. We want to see young people getting into power. I said it the last time here, the next election, the president must be confronted with young people below 40 years who are members of Parliament. And that's what we're working towards. That in the next 3 months, we will know 2018 who our candidate at each ward will be, who our candidate in each constituency will be, as young people. And if these political parties at some point manage to settle down and they want to talk to us, then we'll talk there. This is where the Grain Coalition comes in. People are tired of political parties right now. They've not achieved anything. There's so much fighting, you know. But at the same time, people in the constituencies and areas must be represented. And an independent candidate will serve the same purpose, just the way anybody belonging to any party would. It does not change. When an independent candidate, you're still entitled to the same benefits. So it's very important for us to more or less understand that. Kasukwere himself was very much involved, instrumental in Mainjuru becoming the vice president. And let me say this for the first time, that the next president of this country will not be Zezuru. They've been given a chance, they're now fighting each other. Kasukwere being Zezuru decided to fight Mainjuru. The Zezurus were a unit when it came to the politics of this country, national politics. If you had March Central, March East, March West, and Harare province, as a group, they made the decision. Today they're divided. Mash East is an island. Mash Central is being controlled by Kasukwere. He also wants to be the president. Mash West is being controlled by Chombo, the most dangerous of all politicians in this country. Controls local government, which is key in the ascendance of power. You are controlling local and rural councils. You are controlling chiefs. The district administrators are under you. It comes back to the real issues of the politics within the party, which you cannot really avoid. The new constitution allows for anybody receiving 2 nominations to stand. So at a ZANU-PF Congress, you can have 5 candidates. All you need are 2 provinces. So Chombo wants to be president, he has Mash West already won. Kasukwere wants to be president, he has Mash Central. So they are now fighting who controls what. That's why the Harare fight is there. Chombo wants to control Harare so that he has 2. Equally, Kasukwere wants to control Harare. Because Harare is cosmopolitan. It becomes a game changer in the politics. Why are they fighting? It's to control Harare province. Because when you control, you now have 2 nominations. It now goes to secret ballot. Then, in the events constitution, if you look at it, within ZANU-PF, Professor Moyo too, he has aspirations. With his, Obenpoff is quiet now in Mat North if you read the politics, yet he is more senior to Professor. And for some reason he's left out. Professor equally is there. He also wants to ascend to power. So in the event anything happens, you have 90 days to run the country. In those 90 days, ZANU-PF must have a Congress where they must elect the person. So it's now open. But in that being open, the Karangas for the first time are united. The Samanyikas equally are not going to support the Zezulus because they're tired of being used by the Zezulus. It's a South-to-South alliance. That's why I'm saying that the next president is not going to be Zezulu. That I can tell you. They've had their chance, and we've seen that they are just about fighting, not about moving this country forward. Equally, there must be equitable distribution of power. You cannot have one tribe being in control and the other not. Herbert Chitepo was key in the liberation struggle. He was Samanyika. Josiah Magambatongo Gara was Midlands. He's from, I think, home area. He was key in the liberation struggle. So were people like Nikita Mangena. So it's interesting times. But the Zulus have had their time. I equally want to go back to the issues on Hurungwe West in terms of the rice which were given by the Chinese for humanitarian aid is being used to think campaign. People are starving. When did rice become Zimbabwe's staple food? I didn't realize that we'd adopted rice as a staple food. I know rice to be something that we eat when we're approaching the festive season. We are far from it. I don't know what we are really celebrating about giving people rice. But that's the desperation, that there's no maize. If you recall, when I was a member of parliament, I challenged Comrade Made, what decision, what method did you use to come up with a statement that we're having a bumper harvest? How did you assess that? And he said we're having a bumper harvest. But yet again, there's no bumper harvest, we're now giving people rice. I want to give credit to the Human Rights Commission, who have acted swiftly. I must say that. They went to the ground. The chairman himself, last Commissioner Mgwadi, was on the ground with his team, and they're compiling a report, which I believe will certainly help in us ascertaining whether the environment is free, fair, and credible. It has not been. And I must say that I'm engaging my legal team in a view of approaching the courts with the evidence that we have, that ZANU-PF must really be disqualified because they've gone against the electoral conduct in what they've done. The evidence is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. So we would like to see how the electoral court will deal with that, with the evidence that we have. The evidence that we have of Comrade Chombo clearly giving instructions. You know, if you don't use that sort of evidence, then I don't know when you ever use it. And I think we shall be approaching the courts with that evidence to say here is direct, where constitutionally the chiefs and the village heads must be quite independent, so that they're able to work with their people. Because of the number of issues, I'm glad that the headmen in Hurungwe West have now taken legal action against Comrade Chiangwa. You know, the good thing about having some level of education, it helps you read the Constitution and understand that people have got rights. And it's not the police who always arrest you when you're wrong, but the institutions that can arrest you when you're equally wrong. And 243 of our Constitution is very clear. And when I say that, I would like to speak for people like Chiangwa and Chombo being taken before courts, even outside Zimbabwe. And I meant that we're on the right track. If you look at the functions of the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, 243, one of them is on H, is to direct the Commissioner General of Police to investigate cases of suspected criminal violations of human rights or freedom, and to report to the Commission on the results of any such investigation. Critical that the Constitution works. Critical that investigations are handed over to the Commission. And if one is to be charged, then, you know, it then at least gives the people of this Zimbabwe comfort that the Constitution is working. If the Constitution is not used and it's not working, then it becomes very difficult for us to more or less move forward with what is happening. So that, I'm glad, is underway, and I think in no time, I think the results will equally be happening. Comrade Chiangwa or Philip, a real loser. You know, lost as a member of parliament with all the wealth he has in Chinoi. Lost again as a provincial chairman in the province that he says he hails from, and that is a Ushungu. I want to agree with Comrade Joel's article that I think totems are abused in this country. It's too much. Totems are abused. You know, and I'll tell you, without even thinking about it, why Mavis Gumbo was so much liked by members of the praise and worship choir of ZANU-PF. I call it praise and worship because he who shouts the loudest is rewarded in the choir. If your voice is not heard in that choir, you're not rewarded. It's because Mbuya Bona was Mabumbo. So they now say, Ndimema president, regreva mire. Nekuti mtupo wa mai wa president. And that's how the party has always functioned if you look at it. It's the same thing again if you look at with due respect in this Soko, the First Lady is Soko again. Commander Defense Forces is Soko. So you know, we need to po. Not neighbors. I was happy that Joao for some time he got it right this time. No, it's just a total, and he's no relation to my and it's the same thing with Chopo saying muzukuru kwa Mugabe nekuti muenda mberi nekuti anachiraundo wanga zukuru saka zopinda zvakadaro. At the same time when he claimed kuti aiwa vana mai mujuru madzimai edu nekuti mujuru anga muenda mberi. You see, so and this is important within the party, which you must understand. So I must say, I think that's pretty clear. I don't think he has more work in Chinhoyi than in Hurungwe West. He has to go and first of all, the people of Hurungwe West know that he lost. A former Selu Scouts, a former spy of ZANU-PF information. What credibility has he got? Who doesn't know that? I mean, you must be grateful to Comrade Mtasa for being readmitted into the party, because Comrade Mtasa did two things which you must understand. He single-handedly pushed for the readmission of Jonathan Moyo and Philip Chiang into the party and convinced the president single-handedly that they must come back to the party. And like I say, they must be grateful to Comrade Mtasa for that. I must commend the sterling work being done by various human rights groups in the area. I sincerely appreciate the fearful stance they are taking against these horrendous acts of violence. I think organizations such as Zimbabwe Peace Project, Zim Rights, Human Rights Watch, the Election Resource Center, Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, Transparency International, Zimbabwe Election Support Network have all resolutely called for ZEC to investigate the instances of violence in Hurungwe West to ensure that the elections are held free, fair, and credible. Can I be honest with you? When you're in ZANU-PF, you never understand the role of those organizations. In fact, you are actually taught to go against them. And you know, as much as we think we are exposed, you know, we would even have slogans and say down with these organizations. But I must say they are really key in us achieving democracy, and clearly I support what is happening. You know, interesting enough, the credibility of the ZANU-PF candidate for Hurungwe West is in question. I think in no time people will know who Keith Guja is. Is that his real name? Did he change it? And why did he change it? Did he ever commit any crimes? Has he ever been convicted? I think that would come. Keith and I challenge him that he has changed his name, his birth name from never mind Kachasupiri to Keith Guja. He was involved in the conviction, he was convicted for car theft. And he certainly falsified information to the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. You are allowed to change names for reasons which must be acceptable, not when you are a criminal and you want that pass to go away. So who doesn't know Keith? Who doesn't know, never mind Kachasupiri, who he is? If you go to Highfield, you say Keith, they don't know him. Go and drink and say, you know, never mind Kachasupiri, they will tell you. So we cannot allow con artists to be representatives of people. No, that cannot be accepted. The Hurungwe West people are too dear for them to just be given. And you know, what ZANU-PF realizes now is that it was a futile mistake to have a by-election in Hurungwe West. I think most of them who've gone there have realized that it was a futile mistake. It was unfortunate that the agenda was driven by Comrade Chombo. And if I have to meet the president, he was convinced by Comrade Chombo. And that's for his quest to be in control of Marsh West. there are many dynamics happening in these provinces which even the people campaigning are quite aware of, and their campaign has not gone as well as they thought they did. They've provided 10 graders in the constituency, and people are not amazed. They said, yes, we pay rates, we deserve this service. You see, the good thing about it, the thing grader is not written ZANU-PF. It's HRDC, Rural District Council, which people, I was advocating that they must, that is service the delivery at the end of the day. But it has come after 25, 30 years. But I appreciate them making the roads. I think it was long overdue, the boreholes that they are doing and so forth. I think it's pretty clear. I think I did allude to the ZANU-PF in-house fighting, which is there and so forth. You know, I did talk about who the real Gamma talks are. The ones that they removed were not Gamma talks. The real Gamma talks are in now. And they have an agenda. I mean, if you ask anybody at Marsh West of that PCC meeting that nominated those four, but the end result were not those four. And I remember going to Comrade SK Moyo personally myself, saying, in case people come and say to you, I did not, yes I did not, and I don't know how then your name appeared as national chairman, yet it was Comrade Mtasa who was then supported. It just baffles my mind. You know, the old constitution allowed for 6. If you have 6, then you are through. And I think I always made it very clear that the position for Secretary of Administration and the political commissar must never be given to guys who are power hungry, guys who don't have a history for the party. And you can now see the end result at the end of the day. And then what has been most disturbing about ZANU-PF is how they then empowered youth chairpersons to be in control. You know, I remember being at a meeting in the State House when we were called, and the president chairing that meeting, and the youth chairpersons had these allegations, 7 of them, against the presidium. They are plotting to oust Chewy and so forth. And now they cannot control them. Yeah, I agree with Kasuku that the party is thieves. I said it already. And you're seeing it now. All these stands happening in Harare, Chiangwa being given land back. Those are chombo deals with Chiangwa. That's where they meet. We're having to prejudice people of land. When I was the provincial chairman, there is this land called Kingsdale, which was given to people before the elections, 1,500 people. After elections, they already had decided to create a company which Chombo would control. Unfortunately, I went to His Excellency on that, and he reversed that decision. I went and I told him, but you've given people land, and then the next thing you're taking it away from them, and you're getting them to charge more. Amaibe pamsika, vakavota. Nasma wakati badara $200 or $130 a square meter, imakata apa ndepenyu, kuchako badara marizi servicing cheti, uku wakubviso. And fortunately, the thing president responded positively, and now they are there. But you know, these have been the deals that have been happening in Harare, with the extortion happening and so forth, threatening companies that don't donate to ZANU-PF, 21st February movement. It's a culture which is there, which unfortunately, I don't know how it will be stopped, because if you attack Gomo will go to Chombo. He'll be supported by Chombo. Then the factional fighting comes in. Chombo knows when to more or less jump to the next. I mean, he is good at that. He's able to think, leave mind you and go to this point. He's able to leave the G4. I don't know if the word is generation 40 or it's gay 40 or it's gay 4. Yeah, I think it's best suited to be called gay 40 or gay 4. It makes sense. It makes sense. I don't know who got the term generation 40. G4, yes. I think we're all allowed to express our views there. I think they're fit to be called gay 40 and gay 4. I think that suits them better. Because that's who they are, really, at the end of the day. Can I say that moving forward, I've said with what is happening in Hurungwe, we shall be getting advice from the legal team on the way forward. Certainly, the key issue is to conform to the electoral reforms, free, fair, and credible elections. So far, up to now, I've not been on the ground, and you cannot call that an election. Despite me having an upper hand, that's not the thing point. The environment must be that, and the environment has not been that. And equally, you cannot then keep quiet and not challenge this before the courts with the evidence that we have to say, how can one go and how can a sector of the party say, you must not land here, you must fly over? I'm not safe, the people are not safe, so how then would you call it a free, fair, and credible election? So we shall be talking to the legal team, I've said, but certainly with the evidence that we have, which is overwhelming, approaching the courts would certainly be good in the interest of Zimbabwe moving forward 2018 and so forth, because we cannot allow things not to be challenged at the end of the day. You know, there's a guy who donated 91,000 to the president. I think his name is Agrippa. I'll give you his name, 91,000 to the president. But you know the sad part about that guy? He owes Zimra 4 million. But he's given the president 91,000. He owes money in Botswana. He's a guy who's got these painted cars. He challenges the status quo. I've seen him having to challenge senior citizen commissions, saying you're Gamatox, you'll be changed. I've seen him challenging war veterans, provincial intelligence officers, saying you are not on our side, you will go. You know, this is dirty money which is being given to His Excellency. He has threatened, you know, when Zimra went for him, he threatened Zimra. But he's giving 91,000 to the president, and he's not paying tax. And he's threatening people. And this is just not a culture you want at all. You can't have such a culture. I will take some questions from the floor. Yes.
Yes, so you're saying that the next president will not be Zulu. And as things stand, the Karangas are in front. Who do you think will be next president? And my second question is that you say that you are not safe in Hurungwe West. Has anyone directly or indirectly threatened you, and in what way? Thank you.
First of all, you look at a party, if you look at the way ZANU-PF is structured right now, it goes without saying that you've got 2 vice presidents, and it is quite historic that ZAPU would have the 2nd vice president. So at times I wonder why the other president says I'm equal. When there was a unity accord, and the unity accord, they agreed the position that ZANU-PF through ZANLA would have the 1st president. The 2nd president will always be from ZIPRA, ZAPU. Whether the unity accord changed or not is something that I would have to learn about. But if I can be fair to you, hate or love Mnangagwa, I've always said to people, what exactly happened to Mnangagwa 2004 is exactly what happened to Mangujuru 2013. That's a fact. What exactly happened to him? The constitution was changed the last minute to accommodate a woman. And he did not make it. Again, come 2013, the constitution was changed by His Excellency, by the party. And Mnangagwa and the vice presidents were then appointed. It's important for politicians to understand one thing, and this is why I really never like following people belonging to factions. I rather follow principles and values and ideology. And the problem with us, we tend to follow people. So if Mnangagwa was snookered in 2004, why then cry about Mamjuru being snookered in 2013? Everybody knows that. And probably I'm bold enough to say it because I don't belong to anybody. I'm looking at it. Equally, I told you about how Amtasa was supposed to be national chairman, but his name never went forward, despite it coming from the PCC. So, you know, for me, there's got to be equitable distribution of power from a regional point of view. And you cannot have one tribe. It doesn't make sense. The majority of the people are not within that tribe. If you look at Harare, Harare is not Zulu. Harare is cosmopolitan. You have more and Malawi than Zimbabweans. Numa, Harare, Mumbaro. You know. And the Karangas deserve their time, the Ndebeles deserve their time, the Samanyikas deserve their time. Within ZANU-PF, to answer you, there's the president, there is Mnangagwa, there is Mpoko. That's the presidium. And in that presidium, naturally, the ZANLA person is the first president, first vice president, and that's Mnangagwa. As much as people will hate him, as much as you don't like it, but you must deal with facts, and those are the facts. Painful, but those are the facts.
But would you say that he is Mr. Mugabe's chosen successor? We have seen that Mr. Mnangagwa he has been quite close to the president since the 1960s, when the VP was in aid of the president. And in 1984, the vice president, Mnangagwa, was also instrumental in blocking Joyce Mujuru to the ascendance of the powerful post of the Women's League secretary position, and we also see his hand in the ascendance of Grace Mugabe to the league secretary's position. Shall I say that Mnangagwa then is Mugabe's chosen successor?
Listen, everybody, I mean, equally, when Mamjuru was the vice president, the thing president okayed that. And the president even went on to further that the sky is the limit to her. The sky is the limit. You know, you've got to understand that this game, there's only one man who calls the thing shots. Hate him or love him, that's his excellence. He's the one, he's in control. You serve at the pleasure of his excellence. But Mnangagwa too, historically, has been in the party. Mamjuru has been in the party. Then these are the dynamics within the party. Comrade Mtasa equally has been, I mean, we've heard the president on his birthday say, the only person that I confide in is Mtasa. But today, where is Mtasa? Mamjuru, you cannot end there. Where is Mamjuru today? Mnangagwa at one point to go back at the airport when Mamjuru was said to be coming into power. The thing president said, if you recall that. It's his game. But you need to be trusted by him. And you know, we wait and see. This is the issue. I mean, no one argues with that. From a lot of things, like I say, there's no Zezuru who's going to be in power anymore. I think you've got to understand historically. The thing president is Zezuru. Ram Sika was Zezuru. Joyce Mujuru was Zezuru. You know, if you look at the presidency of the party, that's what has happened. But there's a Zulu right now split. They believe that they are closer to Mugabe, and because they're closer to Mugabe, we must use that to ascend to power. And that's Chombo's belief at the end of the day. That's Chombo's beliefs. And for him to have been Secretary for Administration, it was a shock to everyone. If you talk to the ZANU-PF people, they were shocked. That how can somebody so junior be the Secretary for Administration? But you know, I remember talking to the president once, asking him, who's senior in Marsh West? Who should I listen to? He says, there is no one senior. They are all equal. So Chombo, Secretary for Administration, has his functions under that. Mpofe, Secretary for Finance, has his functions under that. So the president refuses to say, because you are up in terms of the positions you're senior. He says, no, it's the functions which are different. So when it happened in Harare, because Chombo was Secretary for Administration, and in the structure is number 4, you think that's what he is. But a decision was then made to go against, because there were 2 issues now. Chombo's letter to the Electoral Commission supporting Mavis, and Kasukwe's letter to the Electoral Commission supporting Mkupe. But Kasukwe's letter, whether you like it or not, won the day because it was a democratic process where a primary election was done. So if you wanted to get rid of Mkupe, you had to do it before the primary election. And from a factual point of view, yes, Kasukwe won because of facts. So the issue was, are we imposing Mavis now? And you know what impositions have done to the party? So can the PB sit down and discuss a matter imposing? And then the headline will be PB imposes. Then people say the PB will vote and they'll go away. So those are the dynamics we must understand. Secondly, Hurungwe, my not going to Hurungwe has been very clear. I made it very clear. I would like to go on the ground. I'm trying to get. We spoke to the Zimbabwe Electric Commission, and let me pay my condolences to Mr. Kwaramba, who was the provincial ZEC officer in Mama Shonan, who did pass away. His lady passed away, I'm told yesterday when I was chairing a meeting at the DA's office. So may his soul rest in peace. A good man, very, very independent thinking. You know, I must say, you know, at times when you are dealing with these government institutions, you always think everyone is for the party, but he was very independent, and it's quite sad that we think lose him at a time like this. We sat down the last time, the police were there, and there was no assurance from the police. We said, but you think arrested me the last time I was there, for what reason? Equally, somebody was beaten up, and they have not arrested anyone. Even the thing perpetrators of this violence on the farms, they know them, they have not arrested anyone. So whether we go to court and we get the police to comply is something else. But from Monday, I put together a program that I would go into the constituency, just go around in the polling stations, see how things are like, and so forth. Because at times, as a leader, people want to know that you're on the ground. And yes, there have been rumors that I'm in jail and I'll not come out. So when they hear I've driven in the constituency, they will know I'm there. But you know, you need to give it to the people of Hurungwe West. One guy says, yes, he's in jail, but ballot paper, I pinned him jail. Interesting. Yes.
I've got 2 questions for you. The first one is about you talked about the relationship between Zuma and Kasukwe. Can you please clarify that relationship? Then the next one will be, you said you don't belong to People First or Gamma Talks. Is that so? Don't you have relationships with Mem Juru, with Comrade Mtasa, Comrade Gumbo, and those guys?
First of all, on the Kasukwe issue is pretty clear. You see, Kasukwe is one who introduced me to Malema, to Julius. And Kasukwe in South Africa has made them believe I'm the next president. For me to meet Julius, it was him. I became friends with Julius through Kasukwe. I was close to Kasukwe. His plans. I remember Comrade Opamchinguru one day saying, "You went to a campaign war Obama, do a campaign manager," and I did not understand what you're saying. So say, "Go campaign Kasukwe, do a campaign manager." He is never hidden it in South Africa that he wants to lead. And when they see him, they see him like that. And when you are going to see a leader of a party in another country and a president of the party, when you are nowhere close to that, when you're a deputy minister, and then I think he was a deputy in the PB, you are basically registering to him that, you know, can you teach me how you get to the top? You then surround yourselves with presidents. It's clear because you want to be one. It's simple. It's never been an issue with them of where he wants to go. Fortunately, he's not able to be open about Malema because he knows that ANC is intact, and if he deals with Malema openly, it will not work for him at all. And the other question
was about your relationship with the Gamatox faction. Are you still linked to them, or were you?
Listen, I talk to them. They are, I think, leaders, but I don't belong to any party called People First. I don't belong to Gamatox. I told you, Gamatox was a term used to settle personal scores. If one believed that there's something to settle with you, they would go and say, "We Gamatox." But they've just realized that ultimately there is no substance to that, and some of the decisions which they made in the party are now backfiring. Because the issue is that there are people who have always been power hungry, and actually, Ma'am Juru was a threat, or because of the position she held. You've got to understand the reason why they even achieved expelling her in the party. You know, she really has been quiet. If you ask yourself, why was she expelled? There's no reason. But if you go to the new constitution, if she was not expelled, she would still remain a member of the party. Which means anybody, two provinces can nominate her because she's a member of the what? Of the party. When you're nominated to be the president of the party, you don't have to have a position in the party. You must be a member of the party. So she was still a member of the party. And what would have stopped two provinces from saying we want Manjuru? So the best is to expel her, so that she's not a member of the party. So that's why probably there is the thinking that, listen, there must be a party that she must lead because she's not a member of any party and so forth. And to me, listen, I think if there's anybody who has aspirations of being key in the politics of Zimbabwe, this is the time to really start a party. This is the time to start a party.
So are you starting your own party?
No. Those are hard calls, but would want to be part of change. Would want to see our young people being in there. You know, you don't necessarily need to lead a party to be, president of the country. You can lead a party but nominate, president, your presidential candidate. It's not cast in vain. You must understand that. So there's been talk of a party. A party has not happened. When people are desirous to have a party because of the political parties, you can see the mayhem in the political parties in the country. People want something new, not the old parties and so forth. And this is an opportunity for a party to be set up. Why it's not being set up? Yeah, whether they're going to fight the case with ZANU-PF and so forth. Equally, no one wants to be involved with the party, with the party which is ZANU-PF or MDC. No one. That's the other issue. Yes, you can call it the original ZANU-PF, but the name ZANU-PF people do not want. That is the truth of the matter. If you do your survey on the ground, but yes, but there is an opportunity for a party to be led. But like I say, ZANU-PF will be divided. And in ZANU-PF being divided, then whoever then assumes power in that division, each faction will approach any stakeholder